have passed since the mortal races gathered
És Kajak folytatja a bobot.
in Anaheim,
Ez a másik
California.
csávó.
And now the drums of Blizzcon thunder once again. Let me hear the thunder.
Thunder!
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Warcraft What's Next panel. My name is Taryn Gregory, and as you may have heard, thank you. As you may have heard from Chris during the opening ceremonies, we are at the dawn of a new era of Warcraft. The World Soul Saga.
Itt vagy Tepe?
A story that will play out over the next
Fia,
3
folytatja.
expansions and will take us on an adventure in World of Warcraft like we've never
Fia, most a
experienced.
World Soul Saga.
This saga kicks
A
off
Warbit-in
with
mutatták
the
eddig.
War Within. In this first chapter, our heroes will be called on an expedition to the subterranean depths of Azeroth, revealing a new world full of mystery, wonder, and darkness. There we will confront the shadows below and face new challenges on the battlefield as well as in ourselves. So what is next? During this section, I'll share an overview of the story of the War Within, and then next you'll hear from Maria Hamilton, who will speak to zones and cultures, and then wrapping up with Morgan Day, who will talk about dungeons, the raid, and our new systems. Let's dig in. In our cinematic reveal, did you guys enjoy the cinematic? Woo. Big shout out to the cinematic team for their work on that. It's just incredible work. We witnessed as Thrall found Anduin Wrynn, who has been wandering alone for the last few years, grappling, lost in his own thoughts, and dealing with the experience that he's been through, as many of you may have remembered. Throughout this and our features trailer, we learned 2 very important developments, starting with these visions. Thrall spoke of a vision calling out from the heart of the world, like a voice from a dream. This radiant song will compel our heroes to investigate its origins, and while at the same time, a darkness has been gathering, even as the heroes adventured on the Dragon Isles, and in the War Within, the mysterious harbinger that Iridikron spoke of will reveal themselves. Xal'atath has returned.
De az melyik volt a Xal'atath?
Freed long ago from the Black Blade,
Valamelyik
once bound
old
her, she is now the harbinger of a new era of the Void's dark machinations, and her message is clear. The Black
Mert azt mondja, hogy
Empire
visszatér,
has
akkor benne volt
fallen.
valamikor, de nem emlékszem
The
rá.
old gods are dead, and their ancient blood runs deep within the cracks of the world. We, the heroes of Azeroth, destroyed them. The forces of the Horde and the Alliance have proven time and again they are among the most powerful armies that have ever stood. The Harbinger has watched this. She is patient. And while the Black Empire failed, Xal'atath now seeks to set in motion the rise of a new dark legacy, one that knows our true strength and will seek to test it against a new threat of terrible power, the Nerubians of Ashkahet. Xal'atath has conscripted the Nerubian queen Anserek, having offered her people a new future, one in which they will rise from their isolation as a mighty kingdom once again. And here in this sprawling city of Ashkahet, we will not find the undead soldiers of the Lich King that we faced before, but instead a new, mighty stronghold of the Nerubians as they once were, deadly survivors of the mythic wars that have played out time and again over thousands of years. In return for their loyalty,
Anyád, de jól néznek ki.
the Nerubians the means of a dark
4 kezük lesz. Jól
one
néznek
that
ki.
will turn the Nerubians into a new kind of ferocious and terrifying soldier that we will clash against time and again in the War Within. Now let's talk about who we'll be adventuring with. How do you like the key art? Several of Azeroth's greatest heroes will rise to the call of the Radiant Song, and many will be faced with their own unique challenges. Anduin, having survived his deal or
Anduin most nagy karakter lesz ebbe a kiegészítőben. Kemény lesz, olyan lesz, mint a faterja volt, mikor meghalt Varian.
Anduin will be
Most
grounded
nagy
in
volt.
his relationship to the holy light that he no longer feels worthy of, while Thrall is seeking a connection to these visions, spreading across the world and working to find his new place in the Horde, while Magni Bronzebeard, long the Speaker of Azeroth.
Magni Bronzebird
Heavy weight of that responsibility.
BFA-ba a kardinátról le csináltak azokat a fasságokat, amikor farmoltuk a dolgokat.
Igen. Ja, Void meg a...
A voidokat, tényleg azt farmoltuk, tudod.
But that brings us to, I know you saw this in the features trailer, Alaria Windrunner.
Alaria Windrunner, azt látod, a Sylvanasnak a tesója, jól gondoltuk.
Alaria's journey will be central to the events of the themes of the War Within.
Hát igen, mert Sylvanas ugye izébe van. Torgaszban a lelkeket szabadítja kifele.
Along the adventure, she will have a unique rivalry with Xal'atath, whose twists and turns will come to define the nature of this new conflict.
De nézzük, akkor milyen karakterek lesznek az OP-k, hogyha ilyeneket indítanak általában, az befolyásolja. A hunterek OP-k lesznek.
Hunter, palasámi.
Körülbelül. Troll. De várjál, mert Anduin amúgy az pap volt. Most nem tudom, most paladin lett? Tudom, hogy régen pap volt.
Anduin nem volt, pap volt, paladin volt.
De akkor miért csinált Nagy Bobit meg ilyeneket? Ilyen Disco Priestes képességei voltak.
Hát a fény harcosa volt, de paladin volt. A könyv szerint is. Silverhand nevelte fel. Uber, meg ezek.
Faterja volt a Warrior.
Igen, ő paladin volt.
And the importance of finding common ground as well as ourselves amidst adversity. Up next, may I introduce Maria.
A kardot meg izé baszta bele a világba, Sargeras, hogy a faszomba ilyen.
Ja. A BFA-ban volt, beleszúrták. Mariska Hamilton jön. Design Director. Hé, ez nő!
Ja, zóna és kultúra.
Bazd meg, ezt egy férfi. Nem sok nőiesség van benne, egyem a szívét.
Hát, ha kicsit levágja a haját, nem nagyon mondod meg, hogy...
Melye az nincsen egyáltalán. Egyem a szívét. Kasz Algar. Igen. Nézed, jobb fent lesz. Ez Dragon Isle, várjál már, de akkor az úgy
lent van, ahol van az expandárja mellett.
Hát már lassan lesz már térkép, baszki. Akkor a WoW-nak a területe. Nem tudom, micsoda ez a hölgy, de mindegy, de jó munkát végez biztos. Csak meglepődtem, hogy micsoda.
Hogy hölgy?
Hát meg kopaszódik is már. Olyan, mint egy Harvest Watcher ott Westfalba, azok az ilyen csodák. Az igen! Az őrten törpök, de keményen néznek ki. Figyeled, a kő törpök.
Mechanical speakers.
Now visually these earthen are a bit larger in stature and they're noticeably blinged out. They've got gems all over them, bedazzled, blinged out, you know, that kind of thing, right? But philosophically, they are guided by the edicts of the Titans, a set of codified orders, duties, and expectations that provide instructions for the core functions of their society. You know, Titans, order, all that, right? But the Titans have been absent for eons, and the Earthen are no longer united in their adherence to these edicts. They now exist as three groups that are estranged from each other. The Oathsworn, as their name suggests, still uphold the edicts faithfully and believe everyone else is doing it wrong. Their charge is guarding the Core Way, a Titan passageway that leads right to the core of Azeroth. They're primarily the city dwellers. They live conveniently near the object of their responsibility, that Core Way. Now, the Unbound, in contrast, have abandoned the edicts, and they are considered scandalously rebellious by the Oathsworn. Their original responsibility was providing the materials to keep the Titan installations supplied, and they're primarily rural. They're living in and around the quarries and the mines where natural resources can be acquired. They rarely interact with the city dwellers. They feel neglected and ignored because they have a different opinion on how they should live. Now the machine speakers have strayed from the edicts in practice, but not with respect to their overall obligation to keep the Titan.
Ilyen fontos tanárod?
They've had extremely
Igen.
limited contact with the surface.
Figyelj, én szerintem jó programozó lesz egyébként. És most ha videó lenne látnám, de nem tudom mely előadás. De voltak azok a Blizzard botrányok, hogy megdugtak minden nőt, szerintem őt nem akarta senki se. Pedig úgy hagyta volna magát. Hagyta volna magát. És ezért maradt meg a cégnél legalább egy normális női programozójuk. Már a mozgó munkája biztos, hogy jó, aztán az, hogy nem egy olyan külső adottságokkal rendelkezik, hogy regszelekció aktiválódik. De ilyen a jó, mert nem mozdul rá a főnöke.
Ennyi.
Figyeld! Őten customization. Most már nagyon beleállnak ezekbe, hogy nagyon egyedik leszem valaki. Szakállas nő, gyerek, ezt drogot fog kapni, nézd a bal felsőt, szakállas nő. Ez már nagyon buzi lesz. Végre jönnek a buzik újra. Úgyis erre vágytunk. A nem bináris, bináris, trinális, metrosexuális. Azt nézzétek meg, ez is egy kis szakállas mennyecske. Amúgy azért találta ezeket ki, mert ő is ilyen. Úgyis szakállat növeszten, az faszául elmentne őrten törpének.
Ja, és mind a kettő választhatja, alé is hordó is.
Dragonfly bettől feszültem ki, amikor bejött a sárkányos, annak sem volt semmi neme, hanem ilyen férfi-nő összekombinálva.
Ezt mégis meglökted.
Nesze, de alati. Ez mi a gránát? Ez egy új karakter? Ugye alati? Holy Fire. De mi az alati?
Mysterious mostly because I can't say anything more about it just yet because of spoilers, but
Gondolom új
like
klassz.
spooky mysterious, it's the other kind. As a people, the Arathi are worshippers and wielders of holy fire. They are dedicated to bringing hope and light to the darkness. They're tough, resilient people, with every member of the society being an able combatant. Some few are further blessed with paladin-like abilities through their devotion to the light. Even their airships are powered by sacred flame. The extent to which they're comfortable in battle is probably a good thing, because they establish a home away from home in an enormous cavern underground sea, from which terrifying creatures emerge to rampage, create havoc. Not my idea of a cool place to hang out, but they're really tough. These watery monstrosities, though, are nothing compared to the threat from below. A constant swarm of Nerubians has been held back, so far, from invading the Arathi lands. The assault is unrelenting, the threat is dire, and the Arathi can't hold much longer. These bastions of light against the darkness are far from home and limited in number. Sure would be terrible.
Felkiáltójel jó ember, amit beírta.
Just saying. That would be.
Ja, az jó ember egyszerűsével, értem. Akkor csak helyesírási hibát látom, azt mondja, hogy felkiáltójel. Ilyen jó a szemem. Kis Nerubian. De Nerubian ez ilyen humanoid, meg pók kombinációja körülbelül. Aztán az felkiáltó, ja, Y. Úgy jó ember. Ahogy a legedek romlik a szemem is már sajnos.
Így egy posztot tettek már ki izébe. A WoW, World of Warcraft Hungary-be.
Hogy?
Anduint kiforgatják a gyerek szerepéből, és odaültetnek egy poszttraumás stresszben szenvedő férfit.
Sok véres szemmel ki van feszülve csupa ideg.
Akkor Tral megfogja a vállát, pánikrohamot kap.
It appears to be a win-win situation.
Totálban mutatják Arthas pózát.
Share their sovereign's enthusiasm for change and her embrace of Xalatath. Shadowy figures with far too many limbs maneuver against the Harbinger's plans.
Amúgy tényleg van ebben a posztban valami, mert tényleg ugyanúgy állt fel, mint Arthas. Lehet, hogy a lelke benne maradt a sisakból, meg ilyenek. Valami.
Nem tudom, ezt szíjáterre kéne beszélnie. Hogy mi a baj? Egy szíjáterre kéne beszélnie, vagy egy pszichológussal.
In addition to the Nerubian citizens, there are also domesticated insects who serve the kingdom as beasts of burden and pets. The team is hard at work building out the full range of carapaces, carapae, I don't know, whichever, skittering legs, grabby arms, piercing spiky bits, and creepy eyes for you to enjoy, I guess. All right, let's talk about our zones. The surface of Khazalgar is our first zone, called the Isle of Dorn. This is the home of the earth,
de kis hangulatos ez a hely.
as well as other native species of creatures.
Ez a nagy hódósor a bejárt ajtóval.
Flowering plant life and generous
Lesz
waterways
piálni.
provide nourishment for animals in this untouched paradise. An important facet of earthen society is Cinderbrew mead. This volatile substance
tök jó,
is
szép ez a
manufactured
hely.
from molten honey produced by enormous fiery bees. Their home groves are a remarkable sight as the hearts of the trees themselves glow with lava-like fluid. Harvesting is always an exciting
Igen, ezek a griffek, amit adják a nagy pakhoz, hogy megveszed.
Now the roosts at Storm Watch are wreathed with lightning and
A Warcraft biztos lesz haszna. Amennyi gyémánt van, meg minden bányász neki fele.
becomes a storm rider, one of the guardian warriors of the earthen people. The Unbound deal with hostile creatures from time to time, but for their most part, the existence is fairly relatively peaceful, fairly sort of peaceful.
Iron Forge, baszki.
Are often situated near the places where they once labored as adherents to the edicts. Those sites are now in disrepair.
Kurva jól néz ki a vízes issal mindennel. Baszki, ez olyan, mint a Hobbitban volt a törpöknek az otthona.
Ja, a hegybe épített vár.
And it's here that a traveler will find the expected amenities of a capital city, as well as the Titan Causeway, the defense of which is the Oathsworn's primary charge. Now, beneath the surface of the Isle of Dorn lies our
Aki megveszik elővételbe a legnagyobb pakkot WoW-ból, azok az előfizetők között kisorsolnak egy romantikus éjszakát ezzel a nővel.
Én megveszem neked, hát ha megnyered.
De lehet, hogy ő akarja férfi szerepet betölteni.
Az már te dolgod.
Ez nem olyan, az nem játék. Veszélyesnek tűnik.
De vidinyót kérünk. A vacsoráról és az extráról is.
Igen. Nézzem már, itt vannak a gyertya a fejükön. Nézzed már! Ez úgy néz ki, mint Dead Mines felújítva. Mi keményen néz ki. De jó.
Túlkapták egy-egy a protein.
Igen. Rendesen nekem most rám fog törni a vózhatnék, és ez nem lesz jó. De jó.
They've had increasing difficulties with kobold incursions, and indeed the kobolds have taken over the mines.
Érzed, hogy jön megfele a kezedbe a dolog.
Jönnek a szemem. Jó fel vannak tuningolva. Ez szerintem hogy dungi lesz. Jó néz ki a dungeon. Ez tudja, hogy egy dungi lesz. The Candle King. Ott van, igen. The Ringing Deeps. Ez lesz az Insta. Ez jó lesz. Ez jó lesz.
Ringing Deeps, nem drinking, ringing.
De nekem 8 dungeon csináljatok most. Ne Time Walking geci dungeonökkel basszatok be. A sztorokot kapjak. Az igaz, jó világos van.
Egyszarvú létezik az egyszarvú.
Ez ilyen alis terület látszik. Igen.
From their capital of Merildar, these trapped people strive to keep hope alive and spread the light, while engaged in a near constant battle with the Nerubians at their borders. The open spaces
Hát figyeljetek, ez a nő olyan, hogy csúnya, mint a bűn. Lemegy a bányába, az feljön a szén magától, de valamit tud. Valamit kitalált a többiekkel, ez elég jó.
Ja. Nem csúnya, csak inkább olyan, mint a tűzi játék, csak távolról szép.
Ja, ha egyszer fellövöd, azt a banyonost se.
Hát nem, mondjuk, ha egy 6,5 kilométerről nézed, akkor még teljesen.
Basz, meg nézed már, ha este lesz, akkor lilán világít. Nappal meg citromsárgán fog világítani. Ez a kristály fenn az égen. Na, az kemény. Amúgy csőkúerú. Noir. Igen, mert a Shadow and Light.
Igen.
Igen, szívozni akarok.
Beszéld le magad, Rulla, mert már látom,
Nem
hogy
lesz
hónap
jó.
előfizessük, és már este kurva anyázni fogunk.
De ebbe akarok játszani, ebbe a kiekbe.
Hát addig még
Nagyon sok
valamit
idő.
rejszoljál a sötétbe.
Pókember lehetek? De kemény. Azt nézd, milyen maci van a pók kezébe. De szeret parának a kezébe.
Korára már más lesz a meta, nem a retpan.
Command the greatest views and live in the highest places over these swarming masses of the many districts.
Most a druida biztos meta lesz megint. A utolsó seasonbe, TF-be. Csak nem a tank, hanem a DPS druida. Mert most azokat nagyon új formokat berakták, mert minden szart.
Hát jó, mindegyiknek raktak új formot.
Hát jó, de azért, hogy többen játszanak vele.
Aztán Blood Elfből tudsz csinálni már druidot.
De az nem illik nem tudom. Druidika.
But the key to such exploration is fitting in among the Nerubians and being accepted. An enterprise best accomplished through skill in the use of pheromones and considerable bravery. The zone of Aj-Kahet features areas of spectacular dark beauty that are inhabited by these creatures that have found a way to live among the Nerubians without being deemed a threat, found to be particularly tasty to consume, or just too much fun to torment. The mobilization of forces to assault the Arathi while also providing military might to achieve Zalatath's
Kahet, ez a második
has
dungeon.
stirred up all sorts of
A
inhabitants
pókos.
of the darkness.
Ja, ez olyasmi lesz, mint az Adjournal, igen, ez a Lich King-es dungeon, mi az hasonló.
Nem,
Az
ez a
Adjournal.
harmadik terület.
Igen? De gondolom, annak is lesz akkor dungeonja. Mert
Attól,
mindig
mint
úgy volt, hogy minden területnek volt egy dungeonja
Now I'd
legalább.
like to talk a little bit about our zone flow. As I mentioned,
Ja igen, a Dragon Ridingot meghagyják. Úristen, hogy néz ki, hogy villámlik az a mount. Te jó Isten! Anyád! Úristen, az a töltés. Úristen, azt így elfigyeled? Kurva eget.
Az baj, az mount, ez kell.
Ez a nagy pakhoz jár. Ez már most mi mondják a genyók, és akkor végén bejelenthetnék, hogy a Blizzcon után hány millió dollár folyt be már az elővételtől.
Hát, lehet elsírnád magad.
Jó van. Ha jók csinálnak, akkor megérdemlik. Akkor van bajom, amikor hülyére keresem magad, aztán szart is adnak cserébe. És azt nem tudom, hogy miért nem szoknyában van, ezen gondolkozok, mert magas sarkú, vagy valami. A tornacipő, meg az a farmergatja.
Nagyon kitüremkedik ott valami a nadrág szíj
Melle
alatt.
helyett az pöcse van.
Hát,
Azon gondolkozunk a Blizzcon nézésén, hogy a pöcse van, mennyire szólnak. Zone flow.
It was really important to our design that while 3 of the 4 zones are technically underground,
Seamless.
didn't feel that way, and that they were distinctly
Ja,
different
hogy
from one
ez nem
another.
úgy lesz, hogy
We pursued that goal by
több,
introducing
több
the natural
darabba
cenotes and
törve,
the ringing deeps,
mint
and
Eszter
leaning
Kingdom
into
meg
the
Kalindor,
fantasy of the
hanem több
classic underground
szinten
foundry and industrial
lefele
workspaces.
mész.
So even in the zone that felt the tightest, there's places that look as
És
though
úgy
they
lesznek a
actually
területek, hogy megyünk le a föld alá, mindig lejjebb, meg feljebb.
Aha.
created a massive hollow space,
Hát
and a cavern so
az
vast it
animációból
feels
ott
like an
oldalt úgy
exterior,
néz
with
ki.
a huge
Hát ott van
artificial
fent a
side
kék,
formed
Igen,
of
tudod, lila.
alatta valami zöld, és
And in
utána meg valami
Ashkehet,
lila.
we leaned hard into traditional Nerubian architecture with hanging nests and huge palaces built all over
Gondolom,
decaying
legalul
stone
lesznek a
that just
pókok,
falls away
feltételezem.
into the depths.
Ja,
Sötétbe.
legfelül
That
lesz a
is the last
kristály.
goodbye candy I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this peek at what we've got in development.
Úgy gondolom középen az a Kendall genyó.
So now it's time for me to
Csak
introduce
megnyalnád a
the
szája
board
szélít a
game. It's going
nagyinak,
to give you
látom a
lots of
szemeden.
information about dungeons, raids, and systems. Enjoy. Thanks very much. Bye.
Szia, szia! Most jön a dungeon és a raidet fogom bemutatni. A dungeon-öket, hoppá! Na nézzük ezt a srácot.
Hello, Blizzcon.
Hát,
Mit így pusztítja be?
a kis langyinak tűnik, de...
Ez meg nőies. Itt már minden van. Na figyeljed! Ott vannak az insták. Level up az Rockery, Stoneworld, Priority, City of Trade, és lesz a max szinthez is még 4 dungeon. Old City, Dawnbreaker, Dark Flame Clef, Cinderbray. De akkor ne kúrjál fel, hogy csak 4 dungeon lesz.
8 új dungeon.
De azt írja, hogy level up-ozva.
hanem leveling közben ez lesz, mint ahogy van most is. Hogy 8 dungeonből 4 elérhető volt leveling közben.
Ja, igen, max szinten, mert
és
minden
4
8-at.
max szinten is. Igen.
Az milyen légy mód, mi kemény? Anyád. Stroke-ot kapunk mindjárt. Anyádat.
Megdughatom a csákot.
Although I do have to say, I feel like they're a little bit behind the times. I feel like all the kids are drinking that, hard seltzer or something these days, but whatever. They're old school, I get it. Next up, our raid, the Nerubar Palace. So this is an 8 boss
Az lesz a raid, 8 bossos raid.
zone of Ashkehet.
Rívás folytogat.
The culmination of all of those machinations we keep hearing about that we see play out between the Nerubian
Hát
Empire
most is
and
ugyanúgy
the
van
Queen,
körülbelül.
in collaboration with Xalatath. So for this next one, we don't normally show things this early, but
Nerubian Empire.
On the left there, you can kind of see the top-down view of the raid.
Ott a raid.
And on the right, it's more of like a side cutout.
Bemegyünk, elmegyünk balra.
So we like to work on
Ott van
all
még
of our
egy ajtó.
dungeons and raids when they
Többi
still look
szembe.
like this, as it's much easier to iterate while we're in 2D than it is to kind
Ja,
of change
annyi boss van?
once we're in the game and it's all blocked out.
Hát de 8-at írt, tehát itt nem 8-at mutat be.
Really quickly, after
Itt van 1, 2, 3,
Itt
4,
is 8, itt is 8, az 16. Hogy ez 2 raid lenne? Nem, ez Nerubian Palace, ez egy raid.
And then you'll battle your way through the harvest pits, and then finally traverse your way back up through the stalactite wing, which is not
Nem, te az egyiket mutassa felőrünnen, úgymond, a másikat meg ilyen oldalból.
So as you can see, this will kind of feel like a winged raid in terms of the vibes, but in terms of the player experience, it'll actually be quite a bit more linear than what you might be used to for a raid with some winged vibes. So something that I also think is fun to talk about really quick is with all of our dungeons and raids, we like to try to explore like what is the thing that's going to make this space feel really unique, that's going to make it stand out from all the other times that we've built these dungeons and raids. And with this space, we really thought that, given that we have the Nerubian to play with, they've got all these amazing like webs and silken threads that you can kind of traverse the zone through. We thought it'd be really fun to explore verticality as a major element to this raid. So I think that'll be really fun to see what the team comes up with for that. Next up, let's talk about systems.
Na nézzük a szisztemet. Mert ezen sietem, variálni fognak valamit.
So I want to walk you through some of our features and systems at a really high level,
But first, I want to talk about some of the philosophies that are really guiding us to add these into the War Within. So first and foremost, we really want to continue to extend the philosophies of Dragonflight into the War Within. And really, when we talk about that, there's three main pillars that I want to touch on. First, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on evergreen features. We want to make sure that we're making World of Warcraft better forever and not focusing on things that we know we're going to have to leave behind as we move into future expansions. Next, we want to make sure that there's something for everyone. So whether you're a hardcore raider, a PvPer, a collector, or apparently like Holly, you just love to play tons of alts and run around the world exploring things, we want to make sure that there's something in War Within that you can really geek out over and that resonates with you. And finally, we want to make sure that we're continuing to build on our philosophy and build on our systems and content with people who play multiple characters in mind. We want to make sure... We want to make sure that we're building all of our systems to really respect the time of the player behind the keyboard and not focusing so much on the accomplishments of that individual character. So let's talk about delves. Delves are a new feature that will be integrated into the outdoor world experience, where the fantasy of these is actually that you'll be joining the Dragonscale expedition in their search for lost treasures all across Khazalgar. So delves are an evergreen feature that is really integrated into that outdoor world experience. We want delves to be a new pillar of endgame content for those outdoor world explorers. We really view this as something like when we added World Quests back in Legion, where they are going to be really integrated and transformative into that outdoor world, especially that endgame loop. So one of the main reasons I'm stoked about delves is that these will provide an opportunity for us to give seasonal content and rewards to those outdoor world explorers. So that means things
like reklám,
rewards
mi a
that you're used
fasz?
to, like mounts,
Hát,
achievements,
ez ilyen.
titles.
Nem baj,
We'll
szub.
also
Annak
be
van
adding
reklám.
a outdoor row to the
Időnként
Great
bebassza.
Vault with War Within. So that all of you outdoor world explorers will be able to share in the joy of rushing to the Great Vault every week to collect your loot. And there will also be 13 unique delves that we'll be launching War Within with. And delves will scale from 1 to 5 players and be role agnostic. So that means if you want to play a delve solo, that's totally cool. If you want to go with you and your partner, that works as well. Or you can bring your whole dungeon group in, and the delve will scale based on your group size and your roles. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite features of delves, which I think Maria alluded to earlier, which is that there will be an NPC companion joining you on all of your adventures. So for Season 1, that'll be Bran Bronzebeard, as you can see. And Bran will be tagging along with you on all of your delve adventures and will totally never, not even once, aggro a pack of monsters that you didn't want him to. And I don't have my fingers crossed behind my back right now.
Lesz velünk egy NPC törp, aki majd segít levelingelni.
Meg mindenben.
Bran will have a customizable talents and mechanics and abilities that you'll be able to kind of load out to suit your playstyle and needs. So, maybe you need a little bit of extra healing. Well, you can load Bran out to provide that for you. And finally,
Fogod tudni majd testre szabni talentet, meg
if
minden.
at the end of every delve there wasn't this massive treasure trove that we need Bran to open for us, which hopefully brought a couple of keys to open some of the chests in there. But before Bran can open that that vault for you, you'll need to maybe defeat a boss, maybe you'll solve a couple puzzles, something like that, and then Bran will be able to open that vault door for you. Next up, let's talk about warbands. It's happening! So warbands are a system that we're introducing that will really be the representation of all of your characters across your Battle.net account. Warbands are an opportunity for us to create a platform where you can share your achievements, resources, and all that other good stuff across all of those characters. So the goal of this system is really to be that representation of the philosophy.
Ja, most írja megint itt is. Összevonja az achievementeket, mert minden szart a accounton belül. Az összes karakterem minden össze lesz rakva.
There's no like singular UI screen that says warbands. It's more of like all these modifications and updates and features are like kind of wearing a big coat that says warbands on the back of it. It's how I kind of keep it straight in my head.
Tönkre teszik most a víkaórákat.
We'll actually be revisiting the transmog rules of how you acquire those
Nem, hát csinálnak sajátotot se.
So for all of you who have So that means all of you who have probably had to run 4 characters through all of those legacy instances just to make sure you're collecting all the appearances, that won't be the case anymore in War Within. You'll just be able to run it with 1 character.
Na, összeszedett Priesttel a palacucokat, akkor a palád megkapja transmognak.
Ez viszont geci jó. Ha nem olyan karival mész, azt ugye mindig a klotos sem mentem, most a plate-eset, akkor a plate-eset már fel tudja venni. Ez geci jó dolog, ez kibaszott jó dolog. A témogot farmolsz, hogy nem baszol rá.
Maradnak a Renault szintek.
So here's a quick mock-up of what the UI will look like that I think really helps explain how these integrate into our current talent trees. But really quick, let's take a look at how
Hero talent.
So there will be 3 new hero talent trees per class, and 2 will be available per specialization that you can freely choose and swap between. And also this is another evergreen feature. This is a system that we think is going to provide a new vector of choice and customization for you and all of your classes, as well as create opportunities for us to really dig into some of those core class fantasies that are, so amazing. So Hero Talents will introduce these new, small, self-contained talent trees like you just saw in the UI. And the way I like to think about it is like, currently we have 2 types of talent points, right? We have class talent points and specialization talent points. And now in the War Within, there'll be a 3rd type called Hero Talent Points. So let's look at a
3 különböző talentfal lesz.
This is a warrior, as you can see. These are the 3 hero talent.
Ja, szóval átmész prodba.
Az igen, ez a warrior, lesz Colossus warrior, meg Slayer warrior. Protectionből lett Colossus, meg Armsból is Colossus. Meg Furyból Slayer, vagy Mountain Tain. Ilyen, az a hero talentja. Tevjen egy warrior main.
A Protection az lehet Mountain Tain és Colossus, a Fury a Mountain Tain és Slayer, és az Arms pedig Colossus vagy Slayer.
Igen.
So the system will automatically unlock at level 71 and it'll just kind of appear in your UI. You'll earn 1
level 70-esre egy unlockolódik. 80-ra szint lesz a maximum.
And there are 10 talent points in total with several choice nodes along the way.
Most hogy vagyunk? Most 70-es szint van, nem?
Ja.
Vagy 60? Most 70-esek vagyunk. Ja.
70.
Bassza
Bassza meg, rám jön, játszhatnék. Kapcsolt ki!
Tudunk majd szappolgatni a talentjába.
Ha holnap hazajövök és feltöltöm a WoW-ot, akkor te is feltöltöd, baszod.
Tavasszal jön Norbi a kataklizmus, azt 100%-ig fogom játszani, de ezt is fogom játszani amúgy, ez is biztos. Tudatja a warriort, igen. Mountain talent. Egyszerre három targetba bossza bele a Stormbotod be, geci. Egyet ütön és 3 kapja. A kurva anyát.
Értem. Oké.
Anyád. Oké. Kell leszapom magamat, geci, az mi kemény lesz. Na ott lesz a tankvarinnak a grója, gecó. Mi most is van, de akkor még durvább lesz. Milyen AOE lesz ott? Azt mondják, hogy lefelték az AOE-t. Ezzel milyen AOE-k lesznek? Mindent, itt minden.
A PvP-be bemész Varrival, akkor 3-at.
Starolok egyszerre. Hármat tudsz keverni.
Hármat elrakol a frigiderbe. Akkor mi van?
Na jó van, hát itt a rívás kerülget. Ez nagyon beteg. Úristen, de kemény. Kurva éget.
Hát akkor úgy tűnik, hogy a Varrit azt már biztos, hogy visszük tovább.
Na most mi a megint folytatódik tovább, vagy most pihi van?
Gondolom megint van valami reklám.